everybody. I'm hoping to all goodness that this is facing the right way and I am not sideways at the moment. So if you are joining me live today, say hello. Let me know in the chat that you're here and let me know if things look sideways. And hopefully they just freaking don't. But I'm super pumped. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. You maybe can't see me, but I am coming. Give me just mere moments and I'll be over there with you. But I wanted to join you today to talk about celebrating the retrograde season that we are in. And I've got you guys with me in my personal backyard today. We're going to do some gardening and some talking, and hopefully we get a little something out of it. So hopefully you're having a gorgeous day wherever you are in the world. We are today, friends, in my backyard. We are in my backyard, and hopefully, this is the thing about being outside. It's kind of like the wild, wild west out here. I have no idea. Somebody's going to cut their grass. Amazon's going to come. The dog's going to go wild. I mean, whatever it is, I think we're just abundantly available to have that experience today. I'm going to tell you guys really quickly. I look sideways. I think let's have this experience with each other today. All right, this looks a little bit better. Either way, welcome everybody. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Stormie Grace. Welcome to my backyard. I am an astrologer. And today I want to talk about this retrograde season while I am going through some repottings. And the thing that really happened that brought this up for me is that, I was having a conversation with somebody and they were talking about, oh my God, Mercury's coming. It's getting ready to go retrograde. And we've got the rest of these planets retrograde in the sky, which if you're unfamiliar just yet with retrograde planets, it's this visual concept that the planet traveling throughout the sky is normally going about along its merrily little way, moving forward. We're getting its direct blessings. What that planet is about, it is delivering to us. If it's Mercury, it's communication, thinking, negotiations, decision making. We have what we feel like is a little bit more of a full access, little bit less chaos, less confusion involved in that particular traveling direct. Now, when we say that a planet has gone retrograde, it doesn't actually go retrograde. These planets do not run around out there and run backwards, but it's this perception that the planet, instead of going forward, has slowed and is now moving backwards. So it's moving back over the duration and the degrees of a particular sign that it's traveling in. And that particular sign and the particular house that it's traveling in for you are also going to tell you, what are you reviewing? Because that's what we do in a retrograde. We reconnect, we revise, we re-edit, we rethink, we renegotiate, we reunion. Things come back to us. We have all of these different experiences with the retrograde. Now we've got an abundance of planets that are retrograde or are slowed down to go retrograde. As of today, September 3rd, we're also welcoming Mars into pre-retrograde shadow time. So it means it is slowed down while it's still moving forward, but it is moving slowly in retrograde fashion to get ready to join the retrograde procession of planets that is happening. So what this can feel like in some events we can see tied to it in our own lives to be thinking about is that we are going over much of our lives. It can really feel like I've got this plan, I've got this vision, I know the direction that I want to go, and I feel like I'm just not quite able to make it go forward, or it's not going forward as quickly or progressing as quickly as I would like it to, or oh my gosh, I've been working on this project, I've been working on this application, and everything feels like it's shut down, or it feels like just nothing is moving forward. And this is what it can feel like to us. There can feel like there's confusion. It can feel like there's doubt or miscommunication or misunderstanding. So there can be a sense of frustration that comes with it. And that is to be expected when we do not understand how to appropriately use the time frame we're in, or how to reset our own thinking to the time frame that we're in. So I wanted to talk about that and explore the joys of celebrating this time instead of fearing it. Now, first of all, I do want to say you do want to locate your own natal chart, because you want to see first and foremost, do you have retrograde planets in your chart? Because if you have retrograde planets in your chart, while we are all collectively experiencing the retrograde, instead of a calling in for you, where the rest of us are having to go in and maybe do a review there, you maybe are experiencing a really great calling out, right? Instead of keeping the ideas in your head or keeping it behind the scenes, you're being called to moving it out into a more public sphere, or now you're having to do more public work, things like that. So you really want to grab your own chart. Go to astro.com. You can pull a free one. Come get one from me where you get a full report, or go to your chosen astrologer. Do you, but get your chart so you can see where all of this retrograde activity is happening. Now, as a whole, this retrograde time, instead of running and hiding under a rock and being like, oh my God, that tax thing is going to come back, my ex is going to come back, it's all going to go wrong, oh, Mercury retrograde is terrible, Pluto retrograde is the worst. Instead, I want to invoke and invite you to a grand celebration of the retrograde time, because what we're primed for and what we're doing now is many, many decisions that we've been making really since January. Let's just look at this year in 2022. Decisions we've made, conversations we've had, relationships that we have engaged in, things we've brought into our house, projects that we've started, healing work, any of these reflections, any of these things that have been coming into our lives, we're now slowed down properly to review them, right? There's this idea, and I'm a plant person, that's why we're outside and you're in the garden with me today, but there's this idea that I bring something into my life and it's just joyous and it just is what it is. And that sometimes happens, but that's not really it. That lacks its own depth. Instead, we have an opportunity to bring these situations into our life, to bring ourselves to different situations, and then to review them, to make sure they are the right fit for us, to make sure we are the right fit, to make adjustments where we need to bring clarity to situations or to scenes that we've been experiencing. So one of the things I wanted to do during this time, especially thinking about the Mercury retrograde and the Mars retrograde coming in, because these are personal planets, so they're closer to us. We feel them in quite a pronounced way because they're closer to us. So with Mercury going retrograde, the purpose, the function that Mercury, as our communication, our planet of the mind, our thinking, the way that Mercury serves is, whether it's moving forward or it's moving backwards, it is always to be bringing in new information to us. So when it's moving forward, it brings us new connections, new opportunities, a new idea, fresh perspective. New is the function of Mercury. When we get to Jupiter, we're taking what's already there and deepening it, okay? So keep that in mind. So as Mercury is heading into this retrograde starting September 9th, and we're already in the pre-retrograde shadow time, it is bringing you new information, new perspective on an old situation or scenario that is in your life already. And what this allows you to do, what this is helping you to do, is to go through what's already been there and reflect and prune the process. And one of the things that I do is I look back through the soil of my plants. Right now I'm getting some fresh soil ready. I poured out another plant that's going to be repotted. 4 of them have been repotted today, which has been very, very exciting. And I'm going through the soil, though, that I've remixed, gotten freshened up and ready, and I'm looking for the things. I'm Mercury retrograde. I'm looking for new information, right? Where is there a root? Where is there a dead leaf? Where is there a portion of the soil that's too dry to actually feed and nourish the plant that is on my table, right? And this is exactly what we're doing as well. As you're going back over during this Mercury retrograde between Libra and Virgo, you're going back through the opportunities, the relationships you brought into your life, and where are there old roots? buried in that relationship and you've been functioning out of them. It's an old hurt. It's an old belief. It's an old idea, and it is stopping the growth of that relationship. And instead, Mercury brings you back through your soil to say, wait, this is an old root. This is an old root. You don't need this anymore. We can't grow from this. This isn't true. How about a fresh perspective? New information on an old belief you've had, right? And you get to pull that root. You get to look at it. We're humans. We change quite slowly, do we not? So we have the opportunity during the retrograde time to re-look at it. And what comes of it is the fresh perspective that can allow things to move forward. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what I'm doing. So I've got another plant that is going to get repotted here. This one is called, oh, come on. This one is called, they call it formally a snake plant, but it is a Dracena trifasciata is its official name. And it's time for this to be repotted. And it's fun that, you know, we're talking about this during the retrograde time, because I actually brought this plant into my home in August. It was a new addition right around when Mercury was coming into the slowdown, so for pre-retrograde shadow time. So this is just such a perfect indicator of the change that we're going to see, because now, as we're preparing for Mercury retrograde, it's time for me to not just have this beautiful plant and this beautiful opportunity and form this relationship in my life, but it is time for me to unpot this plant, really come to know it. To come to know this plant by looking at its roots, getting to know the health of its roots, its structure. I'm going to go through this plant right now and look at where is there dead leaf, or where is there dead foliage, where is there leaf growth here that is dying off, so it needs to be pruned. And by getting in to this plant, we form a synthesis together, and we form a different relationship based on new information and perspective. And this is the change. This is the deep knowing and the deep change that is available, and so can be celebrated during a retrograde, because without the going back over of this plant and coming to know it, and coming to know where I can participate in helping the dead growth come off so that it can live, where I can help with knowing, oh, is this root strong and beautiful and healthy, or is there something in here that is root rot that I couldn't see when we first came home? We form something different. We form relationships, Mercury and Libra, that is different. We form health and wellness and daily routine with one another, Mercury and Virgo, as it slides back to Virgo, that is completely different. Now, how does the process of all this happen? Well, first of all, I had a big old pot and brought it home, and now I get to unpot it. And you know, this is what I'm doing, is first I'm taking a look at the roots of this plant. Just what can I see in this plant, in the rooting system? And the first thing that I can see and I can tell you is that before any deep root work is going to be done in this plant today, this soil is just too dry to be moving it around too much. So this plant is going to have a little soak for a few minutes in just a nice room temperature bowl of water, just to soak the roots. And I want to reflect with you for a minute, you know, as we're coming to this Mercury retrograde, where is that you? You know, where are there concepts, relationships, deals, negotiations, commitments that you've made, and today you're a bit too dry, right? We can't be getting into the root and the healing work of it just yet, because you're just too dry, right? We have to become ready to change. We have to become ready to assimilate new information that's being brought to us. We have to become willing to allow the new perspective of the Mercury that is retrograde, new perspective of the Mars that will go retrograde, to change what we are doing and to, in fact, improve it. But first, think about that. When somebody has come at you with information and you're not ready to change yet, or you're not quite ready to receive that, you're too dry. So they can't be poking and prodding and pulling on you and making these adjustments for your best life, okay? Like, nobody wants that shit when we're not ready, when you are too dry. There has to be a softening up time, a softening up period. There has to be support in our life, in our world, in our space, that helps us to become soft, to become pliable, to become flexible, to become willing, to become ready. And at this point in the year, so many of us have experienced so much of this beautiful Uranus transit, which has absolutely unrooted some things for us, made us see that whether it's in our relationships, our finances, our own values, things we've valued, connections we've valued, it's shown us that these are not working, they're not growing, or there's more or different available in these areas. So, through some other planetary work, I think many of us have become soft. We have become a bit more willing and ready to innovate and to change and to bring different perspective in. And becoming willing and becoming soft is a part of the journey, and it is an important part. But then we need the celebration of the heaviness of the retrograde time that we're experiencing, because now that we are becoming soft, we've had our softening, now we have to become willing to see. Once these beautiful roots, and they're already softening just now, and what I can tell from this plant that I brought into my house because I was ready to form a relationship with it, just about a month ago. What I can see from this plant that is already softening is that it's actually not just one plant. This plant, as a matter of fact, as it's softening and it's revealing itself to me, is showing that it very well may be three. Where are you softening and you are finding out that you are, in fact, more than just one thing? And as you're able to see it and as you're able to soften, you can reveal the new roots. You open, we show ourselves and we say, I am softened and I am willing and ready to become what I am next. And here's where I hurt. Here's a wound. I can see as this plant is opening up to me, I can see we've got some dead growth in here, right? We've got some places where it's not even dead growth, it's just dead. Or there are places where the plant it's been harmed, it's been injured in some way. And if I leave it here, the rest of the plant will have to work far too hard to keep trying to sort out that one area. So it has to be pruned, so that the plant can then remember after the pruning that it is able to continue to grow and to thrive and to become big and beautiful in what it needs to be next. Look at this, you guys. It is softening. It's becoming three plants right now. This plant with the roots nicely opened up and willing and ready to engage is ready to show me who it is. And I wonder in your own life, as we're talking about it, where are you softening? Where are you ready to engage in that relationship conversation? And show and reveal some of your fears? Where are you willing and ready to engage in the conversation and the learning and the fresh perspective and teachers that can be brought to your attention around your finances? Where are we ready to see that? Our value structure, how you've been living, right? Where are you ready? Oh my God, look at it. It's just softening more and more and more. And so it's creating this beautiful, beautiful opening. And what will come from this today as the opening is happening, and as I have the opportunity to prune this plant, is it will be repotted into three different beautiful plants that will bless different areas of my house and may potentially even bless different people in my life. I give plant gifts. What a Taurus Virgo rising thing to do, right? You're going to get a food plant or a gift plant from me, in some way, shape, or form. This is the way that we roll over here. So I just wanted to take a minute with you guys today to, first of all, practice a skill of my own. Uranus and Taurus, learning to go live more, learning to get my camera, for God's sakes, to turn the right way, which I did not get today. So hopefully you're not watching this video and I'm absolutely sideways and going on about the glory of celebrating your retrogrades. But this too shall be revealed, right? But it's an opportunity for me to practice where I'm willing to bring in new information and new skills and new practices into my life and celebrate the retrograde. I've got all of these things in my life, as do you. They're already here. It's not new. It's not new situations and information, but new information is being brought on old engagements. And where do we find ourselves? Willing and ready, especially as we're rolling into this beautiful full moon in Pisces this week. We're ready to realign. We're ready to drop into compassion, into spirituality, to service, to humility, and realign with the purpose and the goals that we feel called to. Where are we willing to do the self-reflective work, which says the world is really not my problem. I am my problem, right? I am my challenge. And how do I work with that? Where are we willing to do that? You know, and other things that I think about in the repotting process, which you guys will get to see here in mere moments, you know, I think this is a great time to reflect on this as well. When I'm repotting a plant, you want to repot it in a pot that is an appropriate size for it to grow, not for it to be overwhelmed. It's for it to grow into without being overwhelmed. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this revelation. Look at this. Softened, beautiful, healthy roots. We've got a couple problems that we're going to need to trim here. We've got to prune just a little bit, but beautiful, healthy roots ready to become its next plant, its next thing. But as we're repotting, we want to give it a pot that is big enough for it to grow into, but not too big that it is absolutely overwhelmed. The other thing is that when there's soil in there, it has to be the right kind of soil, of course, for each individual plant to grow, depending on the heat and the light and the watering it needs and so on. But one of the things that I think a lot about, and I've been reflecting on this in our community, is in the pot itself, there has to be simply the right amount of soil, right? The right amount of teachers, the right amount of guides, the right amount of education. It cannot be simply a pot with too much soil in it as well. Because what happens is when you put a plant into a pot that has too much soil, first of all, you overwater it, because you have no idea where the actual root structure is. So then the plant is overwatered, it's flooded with too much information. And where are you having this experience, or have you had this experience in your life where it's just too much? It's another astrology class, it's another healing class, it's another self-improvement project, it's another, but none of it is actually had enough time to get to the roots, because that's the other part of too much soil. Oh, this is so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Is that if there's too much soil, there's the danger of overwatering, but there's also the danger that the water that is needed, the nutrients that are needed, are never actually absorbed at the roots. And if there's no actual absorption, there can't be any growth. It's just oversaturated death. And it's a slow, stinky process that happens. And what happens to the plant and to people and to our spirits as well is that when we're not growing, because we're oversaturated or we're undersaturated, but mostly when we're oversaturated, too many classes, not enough actual implementation and reflection. Bugs, right? Bugs are attracted to plants that are suffering, right? Bugs and pests are attracted to suffering, right? And there's also good bugs that are attracted and they help everything grow and it's beautiful and we love that. But the pests are really, really attracted to suffering. So as we are in this retrograde time, I offer this. I invite you to come to a reflection of where in your life is there an oversaturation, and so you're attracting more things that seem pesty, right? They're pests. It's a nuisance. Why am I dealing with this again? Why is this on my table again? How does this keep coming back? How do I have no peace, right? I've got an infestation of pests in my life. I want you to look at the saturation in your life? Right? Are you oversaturated down there and nothing's really getting to the root? It's just another class, another expense, another show to watch, right? And listen, I've got Leo in the 12th house. I love a good show, whether it's on the stage or it's on Netflix. I like me some shows. I really do. But if nothing's landing, we're just attracting pests because they're attracted to suffering. Now, a good thing to think about is in that, just like this beautiful little plant, it's got some plant death that's going on here, and it's just because it's time for pruning. So where are you being brought to your own pruning as we are in the celebration of this retrograde time? Where is this a time that instead of going, oh my God, something's happening, something's changing, you're being brought new information about old suffering, about old challenges, about old project, about old joy, and you're getting to prune what is oversaturated and no longer growing, right? Because what happens with plants, actually, and people, I think, but we know chemically in plants, right? At least I know about it because I study plants, is that when you cut off what's dead and the plant is not having to work so hard to tend to that particular dying piece, it actually stimulates a hormone in the plant that says, oh, okay, we're good. We don't have to keep protecting and pretending that that area is not hurting, or that particular area, we're going to be able to grow it any different or any better. So we can focus our energy instead on now growing new healthy roots, new healthy leaves, right? It actually stimulates a hormone in the plant to grow. And isn't that exciting, right? Think about this retrograde period. You're being stimulated in some way, shape, or form. You're being cleaned and treated and pruned. New information is coming to you so that you can be replanted. And you know what the coolest thing I think about this, I'm getting giddy even just thinking about it as I'm talking to you, is that in this replanting that's happening, you come to the beginning of a retrograde season as one plant, one person with ideas and your thoughts and your beliefs and your connections, your blind spots and your beautiful things as well. And in the end of a retrograde season, you become 3 plants or more. Who you are, the shedding you've done, the gifts you've grown, the purpose that you're living actually becomes a gift to the world around you, and you, instead of simply dying off, are pruned, replanted, remeasured, known deeper, known better, known more deeply, and are perfectly and beautifully replanted. So I want to offer this to you today, you guys. First of all, I wanted to offer you a welcome to my backyard, to gardening, to this side of me as a person and as a human being and as a practitioner. I love astrology. I love business. I'm a Capricorn South Node. I can touch anything and pretty much make money or make other plants. And I wanted to welcome you. I wanted to retrograde and bring you who have grown with me, who have come with me, who have watched Stormie Grace grow up in public. You have watched me become a professional, change as a professional. I wanted to retrograde and bring you back into my space where it all started, where it all happens, the place where I come from. This is my review of our relationship, Mercury and Libra. How do we know each other? What do I share with you? And I'm hoping too to also leave you with your own encouragement or your own stimulation to think about how you can actually celebrate the replanting, celebrate the looking through your soil, the going back over events in your lives with your children, with the relations in your space, and being excited about getting to re-see, to reclaim, to re-know, to reinvest, to reinvigorate, to reinvite, to reunion with your life, with your spirit, and with your own reality. So I really genuinely hope this whole video is not sideways. And if it is, I ask that you grant me a little bit of grace, my beautiful friends. I love you. Enjoy the retrograde season. I will see you every week. We will walk through the weeklies, and I will see you in the monthlies as well, okay? Bye, my friends. Let's get out of here gracefully. I have no idea how to do it.